Yeah. I want to call the facilitator.
Yeah.
See, create channel. She's no, I'm no longer host.
Oh, I think she has already started live streaming.
I think you are doing it already. Let me see.
Yes, I started it and I paused it.
The live streaming.
Yes.
Okay,
So when you click, I said it, I told you I wanted to try it earlier to make sure that the key was working. The link I sent to you was working.
Yes.
So I started and I stopped it. So I'm saying, so what are you seeing on your end now? Because here it's telling me that it's still on.
Okay, so should someone try that link to see if it will work?
The link is working. What I'm saying
It's
now,
saying live, like I can see that it is live, but the recording is paused.
Yes, I paused the recording because the meeting has not started.
Yeah.
Okay, so now.
So that means you have to create channel.
No, I don't think so.
What are you seeing on your end?
Yeah, so I'm trying to go live already.
So you asking me to input the stream key and all of those things like we saw yesterday?
No. It is saying no, it's saying I should create channel.
I think I should log into
You should create channel.
Yes. I think you should just start this live stream from the end to save time. We're out of time already. I'm making you okay, you're the host now. Oh, look at it. Don't worry. No. It should be this active fellow now. On that joyce sheet, active fellow. That's locked. Let me open the documents.
You need to mute your mic.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so the link I sent to you is working.
Now, all right, thank you.
Yeah, so if you click on it, it will take you to the live stream. Click on it on your phone.
The link, this link, let me tap it.
Send it on my
On Teams.
You want me to try it? Okay.
There are people on the thing already. They're already saying good morning.
Okay.
I guess we're a go. So if you need to reach me, you can just send me a message on Teams.
All right. Thank you.
Or call on Teams.
Yeah.
Don't call me normal.
Okay. Good morning to everyone joining in. The meeting will start in some minutes. I need you to invite your friends. Everyone who is here to join the live stream should do that. Invitations have been sent to every fellow via emails and on the general Teams channel. So please help me get everyone here. If you can hear me, let me see in the chat. I can hear you. I can hear you. If you can hear me, please indicate in the chat. Say, I can hear you. Great, great, great. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining in. Good morning, fellows from across Africa. So if you can hear me, I need you to indicate with emojis. Use the emojis on YouTube to let me know you can hear me. Good morning, everyone. I'm taking some minutes for people who are yet to join us to come on live. with us, and then we'll kickstart the session today. Good morning to everyone. It's lovely to have you here. So we have about 200 people on the call now, and we are waiting for others to join in. So please, reps, share the link with everyone in your learning track and get them to join the call here. Yes, good morning, good morning. I see the chat. Esther, good morning. Joy, good morning. Shinaza, good morning. Rashidat, good morning. Yeah, Gift, good morning. Thank you, everyone. Oof. Oh, great, great, great. We are still less than 300 here. So I'm just trying to take some time for other people to join us. Good morning to our fellows from across Africa. It's so lovely to have you join us once again. The session, the soft skills training started some 3 weeks ago after the classes resumed, and it's so amazing to continue this with everyone on the call. So thank you for joining in. Very soon we'll be having guest facilitator to take us on the rudiment of communication as an essential soft skill in advancing your tech career and having a successful tech career. And so if you can hear me and you are ready for the class, let me see some exciting words like ready, set for the class in the chats. Let me see all of that in the comment section. Awesome. Chidera is ready. Missy is ready. Chinaza is ready. Abimbola is ready. Mary is ready. Great, great, great. It's going to be a whole ride today. It's going to be a whole ride today. Awesome. Awesome. So we have about 300 people and we still have a long way to go. So invite your friends, everyone in your learning track that is here to join the call. Please send them the invite. Some people are not aware that it's no longer the usual Zoom webinar setting. Now we are using the YouTube streaming option. So get everyone who is not here to join us. Once we start, it's going to be a ride. Good. Thank you very much, ladies. The number of readies I'm seeing in the comment section is very amazing. This is wonderful. Thank you. So can you share with us how classes has been? How was classes this week? You had 4 days of technical training. How has the classes been? Can you share in the chat how your classes this week has been? So indicate your learning track column. Classes have been wonderful. Classes were stressful. The classes were good. I learned new things. So indicate your learning track and give us a comment about how classes have been for you in this week. I'm waiting to see all of the comments. I'm waiting to see the comments about how classes have been for you this week. Classes have been fantastic. Classes have been super. Product design classes have been awesome. 3D track classes have been awesome. Our facilitator, Mr. Khan, has been reviving. Product management, it was great. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Product design group C, it's been awesome all the way with Mona and beautiful mates. Front-end development has been amazing. Product management has been intense. Data science, all around superb and amazing. Awesome, awesome. All right. So thank you very much, ladies. And like we have said during the orientation and in the beginning of the soft skills training, that your technical skills will get you the job, but your soft skills will make your career durable. Your soft skills will keep you in the career and it will make it durable. So please do not take these classes. Do not miss these classes. They are the things we are sharing here as much as important as the things you are learning in your technical classes. So to kickstart today's class, we'll be taking a short test. The link will be shared in the comments with everyone. So we'll be taking a short test to assess our knowledge about communication and its importance in the workplace. So this test is going to be in 2 ways. We'll take it before we start the classes, and we'll take it once again at the end of the class. So it's also going to serve as your attendance. So when you fill the test, when you take the test before the class and after the class, that will be your attendance for today's class. So the link will be shared in the chat with us now. Yeah. All right, I'm trying to get the link to us in the chat. All right, so thank you very much. I've seen all of the amazing comments that we have all shared. Thank you very much. So this training is going to be a whole ride, and I'm very sure that by the end of the fellowship, you are going to be superstars in your various professions, in the various tracks that you have chosen. So a link will be shared in the comment section now. Can you please fill that? So it's just a very short assessment on your skills on communication, about your knowledge on communication. So just take that test very briefly before we have our guest come on board. So our guest for today is a very amazing young lady. She's the current business development manager of the largest global youth organization in the world, the Nigerian chapter. She is the business development manager of ISEC in Nigeria. Her name is Blessing Ekong, and she will be joining us live very soon. So please take the test. Yes, this is recorded. The meeting is being recorded. So I'm waiting to receive your responses on the test. I'm waiting to receive your responses on the test. It's just a basic assessment. Yeah, it's just a basic assessment to assess your knowledge before and after the class. So just take the test. Yes, the class has started. The class has started. We still have a very low number on the call. That's why we are trying to take some time. So I'm trying to take some time to have more people join the live call. All right, so we have spoken about self-assessment in the past 2 weeks. We've spoken about personality type. We've spoken about creating a skill inventory. We've spoken about vision board. We've spoken about setting and tracking goals. And all of those things have been amazing. And I hope that the learnings you've gotten the learnings. So today we are moving forward and we're going to be talking about communication and the importance of communication for every tech enthusiast, for everyone seeking, charting a career path in tech. We'll be speaking about communication today, and speaking to us will be Blessing Ekong. Hi, Blessing. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I can't see your video yet.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, great. Thank you. Good morning, Blessing. All right, Blessing, you have the floor now. You can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just to confirm, can you see my screen? Because I just started sharing.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I feel very honored to be here. All right. Yes, so this is me. My name is Blessing Ekong, Business Development Manager for ISEC in Nigeria. So ISEC is the biggest youth-run organization in the world, and I head business development for the chapter in Nigeria. So today I'll be talking to you guys about communication, how to effectively communicate in a workspace, basically, for those of us transitioning into tech. How do you manage your workspace? How do you communicate better in your workspace? So let's start. So these are like a couple of things, an outline of what I'll be talking about today. I hope to help you understand how important it is to communicate, how to manage different communication styles, how can you manage high-stake conversations in your workplace, among your team members, among your teammates, how to understand and interpret their body language, basically, and also how to negotiate and understand how best to negotiate. What are the skills you need for you to negotiate properly? What is negotiation? What is persuasion? And also the steps to negotiating. So I really do hope that everybody can hear me at this point. And if at any point you lose me, maybe due to network issues, I'd like that I get notified so that I don't work alone. Yeah. So communication, everybody has said about communication, but I bet you that not everybody understands how to communicate better. How do you know that you're actually communicating? Do you just give the information that way? Do you understand how the channels of communications are, the process of communication, how you should effectively do it? So communication basically has been one of the top 10 skills for 2 years now. This statistics was from last year, 2021. It shows that most recruiters actually want to see communication skill as part of the skills you have when they are recruiting you. Communication is a soft skill. I believe we know the difference between hard skills and soft skills. So communication is a soft skill, and it is actually a top notch now. Everybody wants to recruit somebody that knows how to communicate better, because it helps reduce toxicity in the workspace. So let's know the definition of communication. So communication is the act of transmitting information. Basically, when you're communicating with somebody, an information, an idea is what you're trying to pass across. Could be one person, could be a team of 2, 3, and 4. So basically, it's just for you to transmit information to the next person, to the listener, basically. So we can also call it a process of exchanging ideas, process of exchanging your thoughts, sharing opinions, sharing of information. So now this is the channel, the flow for ideal communication. You on the sending end, you're referred to as the sender. And for every communication to be effective, you have to be passing across a message, obviously, and then there has to be a listener or a receiver. So you sending a message and somebody else is receiving it on the receiving end. And this piece of information, at the point where it gets to the receiver or the listener, they need to give you response. That's more like a proof that, okay, they're paying attention to what you're saying, or whatever information you're trying to pass across is being heard and received and absorbed. And from there, where they respond to let you know that, okay, they understand this, there's a mutual understanding. At the point where they respond, they either understand or they do not understand. If they do not understand, which means your communication is not so effective and you need to come over again. But where there's a mutual understanding, it means your communication or whatever information you're trying to pass across was effective. And then on the last end, they would give you feedback. So if they do not understand what you're saying, you can't possibly get a feedback. That's like two different things. So key thing for communication to be effective is there has to be a mutual understanding. You have to get response from the receiver, and there has to be a feedback. Now, we have what we call 7 C's of communication. They are basically these 7 checklists for communication. If you pass all 7 checklists, you can be very sure that you have communicated effectively in your team, in your office, in your workspace, or wherever. So once you pass the 7 checklists, you're very sure that you have communicated effectively. Now, the very first checklist, very first C for communication is complete. So whatever information you're trying to pass across amongst your team members in your workspace, you as a boss trying to downscale an information to your employers or your employees rather, your information has to be complete. Don't give half and half information rather. You have to make sure that it is complete information you're giving out, because whatever information you're giving out to somebody, you want them to absorb it or to work with it. So how do you give incomplete information and expect them to understand you? So your information, whatever information you're trying to pass across, has to be complete. It has to have lots of content too. This helps you to reduce lots of questions. Somebody asking, oh, I don't understand, can you come again? I do not understand what task you gave to me. I don't understand how I'm supposed to do this. I don't understand where I'm supposed to record this or that. That's because you're not giving them complete information. If you tell them, oh, I want you to use a Google document to do so and so, that information is complete. But when you just say, go and do this, you're not stating where they should do it. There is no medium transformed or transmitted to them or downscaled to them for them to know what they're supposed to do. So you have to give complete information to somebody to make sure that your communication is better and effective. The second C is you have to be considerate. Now, when you're talking to somebody, you have to consider the person, understand the person's point of view too. Don't just give the information like that, not considering other factors that might be hindering the person from doing whatever they are doing or whatever you want them to do it. You don't understand how the delivery system is supposed to go. Would this person be able to deliver on time? Are there challenges, are there barriers that the person would most likely face for them not to be able to get your information correctly? So you have to be considerate at every point in time, irrespective of you being a boss or you being the team member you're being referred to as. Third one, your information has to be clear and concise. So takes me back to complete, where I said you have to make sure that you're giving complete information. It's not just complete, make sure that it is clear. Even someone who was not paying 100% attention, even if it is 90% attention your listener was paying, if they have to go back to a document or make reference to a recorded call or something where you were passing the information, make sure that it is clear. Even if somebody is sleeping and they wake up and they want to get that particular information again, they should be able to get it without having to come to you to bug you or to disturb you again. So make sure that any information you're trying to pass across has to be clear and precise. Fourth one would be courtesy. So still talks about toxicity. Most people do not know how to talk politely in workspaces. It's mostly common with bosses, but at times it's not always the boss issue. This current generation, we like to blame it on our boss every time. Or our boss is toxic, our boss is being manipulative and all of that. At times the problem might be from you. You don't know how to respond to people. You lack respect and simple courtesy. We need to start understanding that lots of people have differences. We have different cultures, people have different value statements, people have different beliefs. So you have to respect people's opinion. You have to respect how people carry themselves in the workplace. I have a colleague who does not like she does not like open feedback. Courtesy demands that if we're in an open space, I don't give her feedback at that time. I have to give her feedback in a closed working environment. So most people have their different kind of things that define them. They have their different beliefs. So you have to put courtesy into whatever you're doing. Don't just be a carefree person that, after all, send or something. So it's not nice. For your information to be passed across effectively, you have to make sure that you apply courtesy to whoever you're talking to, whoever the listener or receiver is, or whoever your team members are. The fifth one is going to be you have to make sure that your information is correct. Still goes in the same line with concise and clear. It has to be correct too. Are you giving right information? Let your information come with facts. Yes, and also take note of the grammar you're using. Don't try to use bulky words to confuse people. In the end, the grammar you're using might just be a borrowed English that you don't even know the meaning, but you just feel that it should be there at that point and it's not correct. So it misinterprets the entire information you're trying to pass across, which is not going to lead to a good communication. So you have to make sure that whatever English, whatever phrase, whatever figure of speech you decide to use in your information you're passing across, it has to be very correct. And the last one is concrete. So I said, don't give information that are not valid. Don't over-exaggerate your information. Maybe you're telling somebody that, maybe my boss is telling me he wants me to generate 600,000 naira for the month. And then he's over-exaggerating what our plan is. Maybe our plan is actually to get 600. He's now telling me that we have to get 3 million. That's not, maybe looking at the reality of things, it's not even feasible. But as he's over-exaggerating it, it's giving me an information now that I have to outdo myself to get that target for the month. So he's supposed to give me concrete information for me to work with, because I have my strategies, I have my ways of implementing to make sure that we get that number. So at the point where you're giving me a value that is not valid or not concrete enough, it makes the entire information you're giving me unreliable, and it's going to lead to lots of problems we might not want to mention. I will not be very productive at the end of the day with that task or that deliverable. So you have to give concrete information that you know that people can understand and work with. So at the end of this, if whatever information you're trying to pass across when you're communicating with somebody goes through this 7 checklists, it is very safe to say that your communication was very effective. Yeah. So now, why do we actually need to communicate effectively? I want you to understand that it's a different thing when you're communicating. It's also a different thing when you're communicating effectively. So why do we need to communicate effectively? It really helps us to make strong decisions. Yeah. When you're communicating very well, whoever you're talking to understands what you're saying, you guys can come to a better agreement. You can make better decisions together. There is a mutual understanding. and it increased productivity because at that point, everybody's on the same page. So we're all working for one cause. We're all working for one information that we got from whoever is the team leader and all of that. It also gives us a steady workflow. There's no bridge in communication. There's no misinterpretation of information. Everybody's working accordingly. So when there's a steady workflow, you see increased productivity. Everything is going smooth. Your workplace is not having clashes. Everybody understands what role they're supposed to play. The operations guys know where they come in. Human resources know where they come in. You as a front-end developer, you know what role you're supposed to play from the information you've gotten. You know how you're supposed to handle your tasks and deliver so that the work is effective. So it brings about steady workflow. You'll be quick to solve problems. So at the point where I have told you this information, I've given you a valid and concrete information, giving you a clear information. Maybe it's an issue. We all know how to think of ways to solve that thing immediately. But in a case where I'm not being so plain or transparent with my information, I'm trying to hide some kind of information and not being straight to the point, we'll not be able to solve the problem. Rather, it creates more problem.
Hello?
And it enhances professional image here. So goes in hand with workflow. You have a professional working experience and all of that. And then lastly, it builds a good business relationship. By the time you work with your team members or you as a boss, you're working with the people who are working for you very effectively. It builds a very good and comfortable business working environment and relationship. People would feel very enthusiastic to work with you over time. They would always want to participate, they will be involved, they will want to carry along in the conversations and all of that. And it makes your work very, very easy as a team leader, as a team member. When you have that working relationship, that professional working relationship with your members or who you work with your colleagues and all of that, it makes your work very easy and you'll be happy. So now we have barriers to communication, to effective communication, things that hinder effective communication. So we have time. And people are very different, like I said before. So at the time where I might be free to take in that information, the second person on the team might be very busy, and you have to respect that. People get busy, people have their own opinions and their own lifestyle and all that. So time could be a barrier for communication. Lack of interest. So could be a team of 3 or 4. Out of the 4, you can't carry all 4 along, unfortunately. No matter how you try, one person would not be so involved and interested in what you do, which is a factor that you can't even hinder at all. So that's like one of the barriers of communication. We have distance. You could have a team member who is currently not going to be physically available. You have to communicate virtually. So all of those things are hindering the information because you can't even tell what the person is doing at that point in time where you're giving the information. You can't see or tell if the person is paying attention or not, if the person is distracted or not. Yeah, distraction too can also be a barrier of communication. Noise. In a noisy environment, people don't tend to absorb whatever you're saying. They can't absorb 100%. So it brings a bridge in communication because there is no how they will not come to you to ask you, what did you say? I lost you at some point and all of that, which is very annoying. Now culture and belief, and then assumptions. Assumption is not so nice in the workplace. Why did I say it's not so nice? It's not so nice because at times the information you're trying to pass across might be valid or concrete, but people would just assume. And what leads to assumption? That's because the person was not even paying attention from the first place. So they just assume you said a thing when that's not what you said. And it disrupts the communication process. Yeah. So now let's talk about communication styles. I would just like to highlight 4 different communication styles we have. So communication styles are different approaches to express our thoughts, feelings, or opinions. It's basically defined as the way we express our thoughts. At the point where you're trying to pass out information, how are you trying to express it? How are you trying to do that? Are you doing it in an offensive way? Are you doing it in a manipulative way to enforce what you're doing on the person? Like, it's a do or die. So there are different types of communication styles, but I summarized all into 4 different categories or 4 different types. So here's the first one: passive communication style. In passive communication, the listener or whoever is taking part in that communication process is always the listener on the receiving end. They just tend to agree to whatever you say. They would never contribute. They have contributions, yeah. This makes them different from another communication style we have. They always have ideas. They have contributions to make, but they will never contribute. At times, it might be because they don't even have interest in what you're saying at that point, or they feel like it doesn't relate to them. They have that carefree attitude. So it's very bad to work with a passive communicator. Very, very bad. Because at times, whatever you're communicating, you might not know it 100%. You might want contributions. And then there's a passive communicator who does not care. The person will just stand and be looking at you. No eye contact, no body language to actually let you know that, okay, I think this person understands me. I think this person doesn't understand me. Just very carefree. They can't even nod their head and say, oh, I agree with you, or I do not agree. Basically, they are lost in your conversation. Yeah. So we have passive communicators, and it is never a right style to adopt in this life. It is not good. If you're someone like that, I think you need to start changing the way you communicate. You have to get involved in conversation or get involved in information, share your opinions or give feedback. Yes, a passive communicator never gives feedback because they are not even listening to you. They are not interested in the first place, and it's not right. The next one is an aggressive communicator. This is common with toxic people in the workspace. Let's not use toxic bosses in this instance. Common with people, anybody, could be your boss, could be your team member, could be your team lead, that is very toxic. They are always very aggressive. They are giving you information, they are shouting, like this vector on the slide is interpreting. They are also very fistful. They want to impose this information to you immediately. They want you to understand whether you like it or not. And it is not the right thing or the right way to pass information across. So they try to impose it, and they would overshadow you with their voice. You're passing an information. You have to be calm about it. You have to make sure that it is very clear to whoever you're talking to. But these people don't care. They just want to give the information. Just want to let you know that they have the final say and you must do whatever they want to do. Your idea does not count. Their idea must count, and they will try to dominate whatever you say. So it's not always right, because at times they tend to be very disrespectful in the process. To be very honest, they tend to be very, very disrespectful, because how can you be in a team and you're not paying attention to other people's opinion? Then why is it a team? Everybody is supposed to play. They have a role to play. They have to take part in whatever discussion it will be. So at the point where there's an aggressive communicator in the team, every other person's opinion does not count. Their own. In fact, if you're sharing ideas or giving maybe your opinion, if you don't pick their opinion as part of the things you're picking, in fact, if their opinion is not the first one, they will never agree to it. So they always try to intimidate people, and the people they try to intimidate most times are the submissive and passive communicators. Yeah, so let's talk about the next one, which is submissive. Okay, manipulative. Let's get to manipulative first, because it's more similar to the aggressive ones. Now, these manipulative ones, they will get your idea. So unlike the aggressive ones, this ones will take your idea to, okay, this is your own idea, but this is your own opinion, Abby. Okay, fine and good. But my point is, you have to see it. They always want to drag it to this other they come up very persuasive. They always want to drag you to their own point of view, to their own side of view for you to understand it. Yes, they buy your idea, but you will not follow your idea. You have to come to my own. So that's a very manipulative way to do things, and it limits opinions, it limits ideas, it limits innovation, it limits innovative ideas at times. So how can you be in it? Everybody has their opinion. Everybody sees a coin from different sides. We cannot all see the side of the coin from the same side. There are two sides of the coin. So you can be seeing it from this other side, I can be seeing it from the other side, I can be seeing it from the other side. So why try to be manipulative to drag me to your own side? It's different when you're trying to negotiate that, okay, I think we should pick from your idea, and I should not for you to be manipulative and try to persuade me that is this your own idea. It's normal to have healthy conversations. I just hope we don't mix this. Not like it's wrong, but you should respect people's opinion, basically. That's like the headline of this. Respect people's opinion when you're trying to communicate with somebody. That's how to work well in a team. Because if you can't trust your employers to actually make opinions, give you opinions, or you can't trust your team members to share their ideas and opinions, share valid ideas and opinions, then you don't need them. It reduces efficiency, because at that point, if you try to be manipulative every time with my ideas and opinion, I'll start hiding them away from you. I'll shy away from the conversations. Because every time I know that if I try to bring up a suggestion or an opinion, what you will do is overshadow mine, and my opinion does not count in the end. So don't be a very manipulative communicator. It's not nice. So the last one is this guy, submissive communicator. Submissive communicator, they have a whole lot of problems. Why are you there? Why is something being passed across to you? Why is an information being passed across to you? Even if it is what works for you, because at times time can be a very big barrier. Oh, I have something at hand to do. This information you're giving me right now, I don't think I can work on it now. I have a deadline to meet. At that point, you have to communicate and let them know that, oh, I don't think I can do this now, but this is when I can do it. But you see a submissive communicator. Yes, sir. In fact, this is a yes, sir communicator. Yes, sir. Yes, ma. Yes, sir. Yes, ma. Even if it is a right thing that is being told to you, even if you have objections, you have suggestions, you have opinions, they would never air it out. They will just do yes, sir. So now they are different from passive. Passive does not even really care about you, does not really care about the information you're trying to pass. But submissive hears everything and just does yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you get the difference between a submissive communicator and a passive communicator. So a submissive person behaves as if other people are more important. Yes, they try to shy away from the entire thing and just let you do your thing. And it is not the best way to go. Why do you shy away from those conversations when I want you to be fully involved in it? If you're shying away, which means if you're being submissive, which means I don't even know if I'm right or wrong. You're just answering me like that. And it doesn't help. Most times your boss does not know it all. I mean, if they knew it all, if they could work it all, why did they employ you? Why are you in that team if the team leader can do it all? Understand your role in a team. Understand what part you play in a workspace. So being a submissive communicator is not ideal, because at the point where your boss is saying something, you are the expert in that field. Tell him that, oh, from this point of view, I think this information is not this. Or, okay, this is the information you're giving. Your information is good, but I would like to add to this. Makes you very unique. The boss knows that, oh, or the team members know that, okay, this person knows what they are doing. But in the point where we are in a team of 5, we have the aggressive one, maybe one person. Then the rest of us are submissive. The aggressive communicator wins at all points. So now what kind of communicator should you be? You should be a communicator that pays attention, obeys all rules of communication. You must pay attention. You must give response to make sure that you understand. come to a mutual understanding. When you give your opinion and somebody else gives their opinion, come to a mutual understanding. It makes you a good communicator. It gives you a good communication style. And in the end, give feedback if you have any. It's always nice for you to give feedback. Oh, I have heard, or oh, I understand what you're trying to say. It's a feedback. So your feedback does not actually have to backlash somebody or come at somebody. So there are polite ways. Apply courtesy to how you give your feedback, and that makes you a very good communicator and you have a good communication skill. So let's talk about how to manage our conversations. I mean, basically, when we're communicating with one another in the workspace, we have it's a conversation that is going on. Yeah, it's a conversation. So how do you manage conversations in your workspace? High-stake conversations. Now, first, let's understand what high-stake conversations are. Basically, when we engage in basic everyday conversations by assigning tasks, giving contributions, sharing ideas, and all of that, there is always need for feedback and listening to other people's opinion. So these conversations are always very simple and transactional. Like our day-to-day conversations in the office, our day-to-day conversations with our team members, they are always simple and at times they are transactional. Transactional does not necessarily need to be money. Transaction going on means they give me, I collect. I hope you understand. So there's something you're trying to share, transactions. So it doesn't have to be the money here. Now, do not confuse your casual conversations with high-stake conversations. What are high-stake conversations? They are different from the normal or simple conversations we have in our workspace. These conversations are very, very, very important because they have a success goal attached to them. So they are not hard conversations per se, but they are harder than the simple conversations. So your simple conversations might be very casual. Oh, how are you? I think I noticed this thing. I saw this on this blog. I saw this on this, I saw this article online. Like casual conversations you have with your team member. Oh, did you finish that work you said you were doing? Did you do that design you said you wanted to complete and all of that? Those are casual conversations. But when we come to high-stake conversations, these conversations determine the success of our company, our organization, our call it whatever, wherever you're working, whatever team you are. These high-stake conversations are made to define success or failure. See it as an executive conversation. Yeah. So those are high-stake conversations. Now, how do we manage high-stake conversations? First, we have to make sure that we align on the issue. So there's a conversation going on in the boardroom. C-suite executives are discussing, or you happen to be in that space where you guys are supposed to make decisions, re-strategize, and all of that. First, you have to align on the issue. What issue are we talking about? Hear everybody's opinion. You as a team leader now, hear everybody's opinion. Even you as a team member, align on the issue with everybody. Everybody has their take. Everybody has something to say. So focus on the issue. Let everybody make sure that it is aligning. Oh, what's the issue? Do you see this issue too? Do you see this issue too? What issues do we all see? Let there be a contribution, then you align on the general issue. Next, what you do is explore perspectives. Okay, this is the issue on ground. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Everybody partakes, shares their various perspectives because only 1 to 2 people would have the same perspective. So we all have different perspectives in a team. Let everybody share their perspectives. You explore everybody's perspective. Make sure that whatever this person says, try to curtail it. Don't argue with whatever the person says because that's the person's opinion. That's my own perspective. That's how I see it. So why are you in disagreement with what I'm saying? Now, from everybody that has shared their opinion, everybody has said the issue. We've tried to align that these are the core issues, these are the core problems. Everybody has shared their perspective of how they think this is the core issue and core problem. Now, time for solution. You've identified the problem, cool. You've identified the issue, cool. Now, how do you think we can solve this thing? So generate shared solutions. Let everybody share their own solution. The person could even be sharing solution to a problem that is not them that identified. It could be sharing a solution to an issue that it's not them who identified it. That's totally fine. It's a team. Collect solutions. Hear everybody's thoughts on how we can solve this problem. Now, in the end, make sure that whatever everybody shared as a solution, put it out to them. I mean, don't bash people's opinion and say, no, I don't think we can go with this. I disagree on this. That's you being aggressive and manipulative. That's you being aggressive. So don't be that kind of person. Take action. If this person said, oh, I think our graphics team, the contracts you're using for our logo doesn't suit it. I think we need to rebrand our logo, stuff like that. Fine and good. What you have to do is go back to the logo and look at it. Is that a general solution that was discussed? Is that a general thing that was agreed on at the times where you were having that conversation? Now you take action for it. Don't just leave it like that, because there's nothing more frustrating than having a great conversation and you have conversations, you have contributions, and then you don't take action to it. You just leave it like that. After all, they have said their own. It is wrong, very wrong. So for you to manage conversations, because if you don't take action for what was noticed at this first instance, give it 2-3 months again, we come together, we reconvene as a team, and we're still talking about the same thing. There are people in that team that would not want to give their opinions again, because they are like, after all, when I said it, you people did not buy my idea, you people did not do anything. We just came, we spoke, and that was the end. You don't want that happening. It will bring among division in the team. Yes, people will not be fully responsible. People will not fully own up to conversations. They will not want to be involved anymore, because whatever opinion they gave was not taken. There was no action steps to it. Yeah. So don't just notify issues or problems or key points after getting people's opinion, listening to them, getting solutions. In the end, you don't just do anything about it. You just leave it blank. It's not right. It's not a right way to manage conversations in the workspace. Yeah. So now let's move on to negotiating and persuasion. This also comes up in teams, in most teams, yes. At the point where we need to negotiate. Okay, now this is what you have said. This is what you have said. Everybody has different opinions. Let's negotiate now. Do you think we should do this moving forward? Do you think we should do this? We should do that? Don't you think we should do it this way? This is a negotiation phase, not you trying to be manipulative. So after I talk about negotiation and persuasion, you'll be able to understand the difference between the two, because they are not the same thing. And you'll be able to understand what communication style you need or you shouldn't use to negotiate when you're with your team members or in a workspace. Now, before a negotiation can happen, let's take it down to the business aspects. You want to negotiate with a customer. You have to have sold out something. You could be selling an idea. You could be selling a product. So coming to workspace, in the tech space, maybe in a general workspace, doesn't even necessarily have to be tech space. In a general professional working space, if somebody is coming to give contributions in a team, it's an idea they're selling out. Selling out the idea to you. So whatever idea you're trying to sell out to somebody, you as the person trying to give the idea in that team, you have to understand what the problem is. If it's a business, you have to understand what your customer needs. You cannot come and sell wheelbarrow to people who make bends. They don't need it. So you have to understand what the prospect needs. What does your customer need? What does the consumer need? The people who are listening to me, what do they need to hear? And then you now understand what you're selling now. This idea you're giving, can it be useful to them? Can it be a good solution to their problem? Yes. So at the first instance, before you start negotiating, my point is sales have to happen. You have to be selling something out before you can negotiate. You can't just negotiate when there's nothing you're bringing to the table. What are you negotiating for again? So now, this is more like a saying from a Microsoft solution specialist, and it is very, very legit. It says none of our customers care about our technology. What they basically care about is what the technology can do for them. So I don't care about an iPhone 14. Is your product, but I don't care about it. What I care about is how would that phone help me? What am I going to use it for? I don't care about if you own maybe a soap brand. I don't care about the ingredients of your soap. I don't care about how the soap looks like and all of that. What I am more particular about is if I use this soap, will it turn me to a white person tomorrow? Will I be fair tomorrow? Like when I use it today, will I be fair tomorrow? How is it going to help me? What is it going to do for me? That's what most people care about. Yes. So that's the point where you need to understand what people want. What do they need for you to be able to provide solutions or ideas to them or negotiate with them now? So how do we move from simply telling people that this is our idea? People have two different ideas now to a particular issue. That's a case scenario. Have two different ideas or two different solutions or two different perspectives to an issue or a problem. Fine and good. Now, negotiation comes in. How do we negotiate? We have to pick one out of the two. So let's negotiate. Can we merge the two together, or we have to go with one? How do we negotiate that? Now, what is negotiation? So negotiation is a dialogue between two or more parties to reach a beneficial outcome mutually. So we have to come to a mutual agreement. That's the end point of negotiation. You and I have to align. You and I have to agree when we are negotiating. Now, what's the difference between negotiation and persuasion? Now, persuasion is a skill that negotiators deploy when they cannot agree. So maybe you and I have argued about this thing, or try to negotiate. Let's come to a common agreement. They do. At that point, I would swipe into persuading you. We're not negotiating again now. I've switched into persuasion. I want to make sure that I persuade you that you must do this thing that I said. So those are two different things. We negotiate. We're trying to come to a mutual understanding. We're having the conversations. We're trying to align. But when it comes to persuasion, there's no alignment again. At this point, I'm persuading you. I'm trying to be manipulative that you must buy this, my idea. This is the one we're going to go with. So you cannot persuade somebody if you have not negotiated. You should not persuade somebody or manipulate somebody's idea if you have not negotiated. So now, whoever tries to persuade each other effectively wins. Because at that point, we're not agreeing. But if I try to persuade you now and you agree to my own, it's my idea will come up. It's my idea will move up with. But do not make the mistake of trying to persuade somebody in a manipulative way if there is no negotiation beforehand. So you have to negotiate before you try to persuade someone. Now, what are the 5 skills for negotiating to earn yourself a better spot? Communication, very key thing. While negotiating, what communication style are you using? Are you being very aggressive? Oh, you must listen to me. It's my own that you must listen to. You shouldn't be that way. So what's your communication style when you're trying to negotiate with a customer, with your team members in your workspace, with your boss? What's your communication style? Because you're trying to negotiate with your boss. You don't have to be aggressive to him. I don't even think you want to be aggressive to your boss. So you have to understand what communication style you need to use. You have to be careful, check yourself. At this point, am I not being aggressive? At this point, am I not being passive? So understand what communication style should work at that point. Is it necessary that I manipulate my boss because it seems my boss is not listening to me and this thing he's saying is a very wrong idea? So how do I manipulate my boss at this point in time? It's very necessary at that point in time to try to manipulate your boss. But if it's not necessary to manipulate his ideas so that you get to the good part, or both of you are on the same page, you have to make sure that you communicate very clearly and don't be very aggressive. Now, active listening. Now, pay attention very well. If you're negotiating with somebody, the person will want to also give their contribution. Pay attention to what they say. Give them listening ear. Let them understand. That's where you get details from what they are saying to counter and tell them, okay, no, this your idea is right, but I think at this particular point, at this particular level, we should rather do this. We're negotiating at that point. So pay attention carefully so that you can know what's next to say. You can know what details you can recall from that, and you can know what details you can absorb from what the person is saying so that you give your feedback. Third one is building a rapport. So it's supposed to be a very good conversation, a very good relationship going on between you. It has to be a very reasonable one. So reduce tension. Don't try to seem scary with your ideas when you're trying to negotiate, because at that point you're being manipulative, to be very honest. If you're trying to scare me, you're overly doing it. And then the extension, the person you're talking to might lose interest, and they might just give you any kind of response out of fear, out of curiosity or something. So you have to build a rapport. Be friendly whenever you're trying to negotiate. Be very, very friendly. It helps a lot. Third one is good questioning. Now, give your listeners a sense of belonging, to encourage them so that they can respond better. Like, I've said something, why are you keeping quiet? This good questioning helps you to cue a submissive communicator that just, yes, sir, yes, sir. When negotiating, you're supposed to give me ideas. I give you my ideas. We negotiate on what works best for two of us so that it's not one-sided. It has to be beneficial. It has to be a mutual benefit and understanding. So good questioning helps a whole lot to the listener, because when you ask a question and there's answer, there's feedback that is very clear, your negotiation is going on very well, and you would obviously get to a good conclusion. Now, the last one is problem solving. Now, change your communication style to what your listener needs or wants. Problem solving. Yeah, that's where I talked about communication, the first communication for you and your boss, where your boss is giving a bad idea, and you know that the solution to this problem is not what this your boss is bringing. You have seen it, you have analyzed it, and you want to make sure that your boss understands. So you have to know what communication style works for that particular problem for you to make sure that you solve that problem. So you have to have a problem solving skill for you to achieve that. If you don't know how to solve problems, you will just be a submissive communicator. And a submissive communicator most likely wins to the side of persuasion, not negotiation, because you're doing yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm the only one giving the ideas and opinions. So at that point, we're not negotiating. I'm just persuading you to do it, or I'm instructing you to do it. And so there's no negotiation at all. Now, what are the steps to negotiating? First is you have to make the first offer. You as the speaker, make the first offer. Oh, well, I think for this deal, or for me to do front-end development for you, I think for me to analyze this data for you, I'm going to take 1 million. Or as a team, I think for us to partner with this organization, I think if these people want to work with us, or you're telling these people, it's 1 million we're going to take, you're making the first offer. That way, you've open room for negotiation. They might have the 1 million to pay, but then they want to drag it. They want to say, I think 1 million is too much. Let's do 900. So people go as low as 500. That's when negotiation starts. You say 500. You're like, oh no, I don't think 500 works. Negotiations start coming in. You start giving a reason or the breakdown of your 1 million. Start telling them how you think the 1 million will work and how 500 will not work. They also tell you their own point, that they think this thing is affordable at 500, you still make profits from 500 and all of that. So also make sure that you ask open-ended conversations or questions. At the point where they tell you 500, you ask them, why? Why do you think 500 will be enough for me? And listen carefully. It's from whatever they are saying now. Remember, you have to have good listening skills. You have to be very active in listening. So at the point where they are talking and giving you all those reasons, you pick out the details from it. That will lead to the next conversation. Because if you're not paying attention, you just agree to the 500. There's no negotiation. Now, at that point, they've persuaded you to take 500. Now, only talk as much as you need to. Don't just talk out of the box. Be careful when you're saying something. Maybe you've told them now that this 1 million will cover this. At some point, you now mention, okay, I think we can manage it. We'll use 200. It's because you've said too much. You've said things beyond what you're supposed to say. You've diverted in the conversation. You've tried to be, I don't know the word to put it, but you're not focused. You're talking too much, and then it brings distraction. You don't even know what you're doing. You don't know what level you're at. You're very disorganized. You're disoriented. You just lose the entire thing. So try to talk less. Make sure that you're very detailed enough. Now, when discussing money, use concrete numbers instead of range. Don't say, I think for this service I'm offering, I think for this data, we would have roughly between 1 million to 2 million. No, don't do that. You're negotiating. Don't say roughly between 1 million to 2 million for a deal of 2 million. You can fall you on 1 million. You'll be on the losing side. You will not deliver properly on what you're collecting money for, because the 1 million is never going to cover what you want. You know it's 2 million, but you're scared to say the 2 million. You now say between 1 million to 2 million. It doesn't help the negotiation part, because between 1 million to 2 million, what do I negotiate on now? Do I negotiate between 200 to 300? Be accurate. If you know that it is 5 people you would need to employ as a HR person in the works.
Hi, Blessing. We have lost you. Blessing, we can no longer hear you. We lost you for a second there. All right. Hi, fellows. We lost Blessing, and I think she will try to fix that and join us soon. And if you have questions, you can use the comment section on YouTube to ask your questions. I'll read the questions out to Blessing, and she will respond accordingly. Thank you very much. And it's glad to see that some fellows are identifying that their type of communication, like the mode of communication, they're able to identify if they are manipulative speakers, submissive speakers, and the people who are passive communicators who just receive and do not give feedback in any form to their boss or to their colleague. They have also been able to identify themselves as what they are, and the aggressive communicators who just want you to do their bidding. They do not want your opinion. They do not want to hear from you about what you think about the situation. I can see that some of the fellows are taking note of all of those things. And it's good to know the type of communicator you are naturally. The self-assessment has helped us identify that already. But now it's time to know how best to communicate with your style in the workplace. The best way to go about communicating with your colleagues in the workplace. So, all right, Blessing is back here. Hi, Blessing. We lost you when you were making the human HR recruiting example. I can't hear you. Your mic is on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. My network is off.
All right.
So you said you lost me at what point?
Where you were making the example of the HR and recruiting.
Okay, so I was talking about the number and range. You can hear me now?
Yes. And you can share your screen.
So I was talking about the number and range.
All right. You can also share your screen too. Thank you.
Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Give me 2 minutes.
Yes.
You can see now?
Yes,
okay.
I can see.
I'm sorry about that. I was talking about the HR number. Yes, when I said HR, you might need 5 to 10 people to recruit, but you need 5 people to recruit. But then you're not giving a exact number. You're saying I need between 5 to 20. I think we need to, at the point where you say I think, it's not even concrete. I think we need to recruit 5 to 20. Why say that? Check, confirm, be very sure. Or you're discussing money, you say, I think we need 1 to 2 million. I mean, I think I explained that already. So you have to be very concrete, because if you say, I think we need to, and you give a range, it could be 7, it could be 10, but the only number you need is 5. Now, what will you do with the excess? Or maybe you most likely get 10, since you gave a range between 5 to 20. You give 10. You need 10 rather, and then you're getting 5. What would you do about the shortage of 5? So make sure that you're always giving concrete and accurate numbers whenever you're negotiating. Now, the last one I was going to talk about, this is not coming up. The last I was going to talk about is that you need to remember that when you're negotiating, that the best negotiated agreement lets both sides win. So you don't want to remember that the end point of negotiating. Are you still hearing me? Am I still on the call?
Hi, Blessing, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Because I noticed that my screen is not projecting anymore. But yes, the last one is you have to remember that the best negotiated agreement lets both sides win. So it's a mutual understanding. So you both have to agree to win. If your idea is the only one that is winning at the end of the day, it comes up very persuasive. Not even persuasive. It's not called negotiation anymore. There was no point of negotiating because you're the one winning. So we didn't even negotiate. It's your own idea we're carrying on with. So there was no negotiation. And it's not always ideal because it tends to look down on the other person's opinion. It tends to look down on the other person's ability or idea. Yes. And so lastly, I want to end up saying that the very nature of negotiation requires both parties to move closer. There's supposed to be a relationship when you're negotiating to achieve a beneficial outcome. And persuasion, or you trying to influence somebody, on the other hand, is the process of getting the other person to the other side of the table. Both skills are very necessary. Remember that the only time you have to adopt to persuading somebody or influencing your idea on them is when you've negotiated, there's no agreement. At that point, you have to adopt to persuading them. We've negotiated, it's not working. So let me try to persuade you to see how you can buy my idea. Yes. So that's it for negotiation and persuasion, and how you should do that effectively in a workspace, how you should learn to take part in conversations, what style of communication do you need to adopt when you're having conversations, you as a body in this conversation, in making high-stake conversations in the workspace, how do you manage it? You as the lead, how do you manage conversations among your team? Are you taking from everybody's perspective? Are you taking ideas and solutions from everybody, picking sides? You're trying to be partial about the entire thing. You have favoritism. You have somebody you pick more than the other one. So it is not right. And I really hope that this helps us to understand how to communicate and participate in a very good working environment. Yeah. Thank you. So I don't know if we can take questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Blessing. I like the depth of your session and the various examples that you have given to us. Thank you very much. So I'll be taking questions from our fellows now. So fellows, if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat so I can read them to Blessing to respond before she leaves the call. So if you have questions, you can keep it in the chat. Blessing says, Blessing Ayesa, I'm blessed to be part of this class. Yes, great. I told you, Blessing, that it was going to be a bomb ride. Thank you for joining. Wow, I always do more than necessary and end up getting a much lower deal than expected. Thanks for this. That's from Chiamaka Iguatu. Thank you, Chiamaka. So questions, let Blessing take a number of questions before she goes ahead to other things. Somi Akwe says, thank you, Blessing.
Thank you.
Adam Nola says, you have given them food for thought.
Thank you.
All right, so Abimbola is asking that, what is the difference between manipulation and persuasion? So you told us the difference between negotiation and persuasion, but this time, Abimbola wants to know the difference between manipulation and persuasion.
So in persuasion, where you're trying to persuade somebody is you're trying to convince them. Being manipulative is you kill the entire idea. You want to impose. Manipulation comes with an aggressive communication style. But persuasion, you understand this person. But however, you're trying to influence what they do. Both are trying to influence here. But manipulative comes very, very aggressive and offensive. It's very disrespectful. So in the place where you're trying to manipulate instead of negotiate, you're adopting the aggressive communication style.
Great response. Thank you, Blessing. So Daniela says, I am more on the quiet part. I feel disturbed talking to someone most times. Okay, so I can't get a statement right, but let me try to read it again. I am more on the quiet part and I feel disturbed talking. So most times I will just let people have their way. How do I get to being persuasive from being submissive? And also, I would like you to take two questions in one. So Anne Wariara is asking, which communication style should one strive to embrace?
Okay, so let me answer the second one. Okay. The communication style you should try to embrace would most likely be the passive one. But what you have to do, you see that the passive person understands it at times, but they just don't want to be interested in the conversation. That's why they don't give a response. So you have to be a passive person that is in the conversation, you understand. At the point where you're submissive, to change that, make sure that you're giving your opinions. Make sure that you're giving your opinions. Don't just take in everything that somebody's saying, both bad, good, you're taking it in. Try to be involved in the conversation. The first person said she is someone who does not like to give your opinion. I think the reason why you don't like to contribute is because you think your ideas don't count, and you can never be. Everybody has their perspective. In fact, everybody's right in their own way. Because for you to give out an information is because you feel you're right. So you're right in your own way. The only person that is saying it's not right in your own way is because the person never standing on your side where you're standing. So you're right. Make sure that you always contribute. If you don't contribute, now here's the thing upstairs. You look very empty in the point where you don't contribute. If your boss always give your ideas to better the company, you're not trying to see what you can take out for us to save cost in the company. You just do submissive thing, yes sir. They don't even see you valuable. But when you say something, it shows that you have something upstairs. Do you get? So please, I don't know her name, but please try to make sure that you always give your opinions. Wrong or right, you are right. So try to give your opinions at every point in time. They count. They are very important.
All right.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And I like that you mentioned that when you are passive, it seems like you are not valuable to the organization. But someone who gives feedback always will be seen or some sort of value. Yes, thank you for that. So we have other questions in the chat box. If you check the chat box, you'll find questions there from Mercy Ajiboye. in negotiating your salary, if you are not sure of the salary being offered for the role you are interviewing for, is it advisable to give a range? So I think Blessing is asking about this when you talked about suggesting range in the example you used.
Yes,
so,
I know.
All right, great. So do you get the question?
Yes, I do. I do that. My last job, when they asked me what range, they asked me for a range. They don't say what's the expectation. They say what range of salary. Yeah, that's how the question comes in. But if the question is saying what salary, it's always advisable for you to give a range. They know what they pay. They know what they pay your level. But you're telling them this range so that it doesn't seem as if they don't pay dicey things to do. Yes. But when you're already into the organization and you are giving ideas, don't give a range. Be very precise about what you're doing. This is you when you're talking to somebody that wants to so at times the idea it gives is okay, I don't think this person falls between this. He falls between 80 to people who work on that level in the company. But when you give that 60,000 naira, you're not going to work. Do you understand? So that's like a different kind of scenario compared to when you're in already. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Miss E is asking, and she says, in the workplace, if you try to give your opinion and your superiors just want your hands and not your head in the game and choose to dominate the decision making, what can you do?
Your superior, you don't want to be aggressive. Pay attention. Say, okay, no problem. Now, most times what I do is if my boss says, this is how it must be, and I know that is not how it's going to be at the end. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't want to be aggressive at that point. I don't want to come out very disrespectful. I would say yes, sir. At that time, I'm submissive. Now, I want you to understand that the communication style varies. You have to know when to adopt what communication style at that point if it's necessary. So I would say yes, sir. I would go and do it his own way and do it my own way, which I knew was right. Then when we come together, we'll negotiate. I shall know that in the end, when we negotiate, we'll have the best idea. So you don't have to be aggressive or very rude or disrespectful. It doesn't even have to be your boss. It could be your team leader, maybe somebody superior to you or somebody from another department. Say, okay, no problem. For peace to reign, go and do yours. Do his own too. Both of you will meet together and negotiate. At the point, if your idea was the one that was supposed to be adopted, during the negotiation phase, you guys will come to a mutual understanding.
Awesome. Thank you, Blessing. So I think this question is quite unique, and it's from Dorcas Rotimi, and she says, sometimes environment affects communication. How do you manage conversations in unfamiliar environments?
Okay, so a big barrier to this is distance that I mentioned. Distance could be a way to hinder communication. Yeah. So at that point, I mean, you're supposed to ask them, are you sure this is clear? And please, as a sender of an information, always be open to question. Don't just be somebody who gave an information and then when the listener is coming back to ask you a question, maybe like 2 days after, because they want full clarity. You know, say I said it before. No, that's not a good way to communicate. They are coming back to you because people get distracted on a daily because they're interested in what you're saying to them. So those factors always go back to ask questions to get the clear info.
Hi, Blessing. Are you okay, great. I see you are there. Thank you. All right, so some of the
place or position.
All right, so your internet has been fluctuating. So I think like we did not get the latter part of that, your previous response. But let me go ahead with this cover question for you, and then you can touch base on that also. This is from my Chato Kamoro. And she says, thanks, Blessing. This was very broad and real life related. So as a leader, how do you deal with different types of ineffective communicators for you to take the best out of them? So some of the ladies on this fellowship program are, after this program, going to start their own tech startups or take leadership roles in various organizations that they join. So my chatter wants to know how, as a leader, you deal with different type of ineffective communicators and how you get the best out of them.
You can hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
I'm sorry about my network issue here. I think we're almost done with this. Yeah. So how do you manage as a leader? See, as a leader, it's very difficult. I've been a leader for different sets of people. Yeah. ISEC is a leadership organization, so you get to be a leader of different. In fact, your team is made up of versatile type of people. Everybody are not the same thing. So what I do as a leader and what you should do as a leader is understand everybody differently. You're the head. You need to the way you treat A is not how you're going to treat B. So you have to understand how is it that when A has family issues, they don't want to hear anything that concerns external issues except their family issue. So you have to understand that this time is not the right time. I have team members who complain that they can't work in the daytime. Their most effective time is in the night. I know that when I want to give you your task or when I have an information to give to you, I'm giving it to you few hours before your effective time so that you'll not have an excuse of not carrying out that thing or paying attention to me. So you have, as a leader, you have to make sure that you understand each and every one of the people that you're leading.
Great. Thank you very much, Blessing. And thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for accepting our invitation to speak to our ladies. We do appreciate you. I would like, do you have any last words before we come before we wrap this session? Do you have any last words for our fellows? So our fellows are taking trainings for a period of 6 months in different technical skills, and they are trying to transition into tech careers. Some of them are skilled in a particular field, but are trying to get on into to get another technical knowledge. Yeah, so that's what the fellowship is about, and it's the Women Techsters Fellowship. Do you have any last words for them as an individual to other ladies like you from across Africa?
Okay, so basically, the only thing I would like to say is this is like a daring word to everybody, that you own up to whatever you're taking out from here for the next 6 months. You might not get access to this kind of opportunity again. You might get access to it, but not quality like this. You might still get more quality than this. But I just want you to make sure that you do not waste your time here. Whatever information you're getting from here, whatever information you're absorbing here, take it into practice. They are very important. If they are not important, you won't be getting them here. And I am very proud of who you are right now, who you're becoming. I mean, it gives me joy to see that women they are coming up now. We're not shying away anymore. We're coming up. We're trying to develop ourselves. So please make sure that you take good use of whatever you're getting out for the next 6 months. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for that, Blessing. That's so encouraging. And it's amazing the giant strides that women are taking now, and most especially in the technological industry. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us, Blessing. Do enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. All right. So hi, fellows, everyone from software development to blockchain development. Thank you very much for joining today's session. It's time for your office hours, so you can get to your study rooms and meet up with your colleagues or your tutors. So the program allows you, gives room for this time for an office study hours. So you can meet up with people in your study group to have conversations about the learnings you had this week. If you have things that are unclear to you, you can ask there, and you can reach out to your facilitators at this time to guide you through this. Yeah. The recording of this session will be made available. It will be communicated to you on the general Teams channel. And so this will be the platform we'll be using for now. We'll be using YouTube to deliver this session for now. So next week, by next week, you will get the link and the details to join the class earlier. Yeah. And as we have always delivered, it's always going to be explosive. So thank you very much for joining in today. All right. So what are your parting words? Let's share parting words in the comment section. Just describe the experience of today's class. Just describe today's class in the comment section. I would like to see that. Great. I see the amazing things coming in. Yes. All right. Thank you very much, ladies. You can get back to your teams and to your facilitators to have further conversations. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. See you next Friday. Bye.